Real esoteric spirituality without all of the fluff, without all of the nonsense. This is the thunderwizard.com YouTube channel. Click subscribe and then hit the little bell button so that you can be notified whenever I've uploaded a video or when I'm doing the live Q&A videos. Okay, I'm about to share with you some deep, heavy stuff that is most likely going to blow the circuits in your brain. Before I do that, I need to share with you the information that you need in order to be able to grasp what it is that we're going to be talking about and to get me to answer your questions. The best way to do that is if you go onto my YouTube channel and binge watch. Find out what it is that I teach so that you can ask questions that I'm going to want to answer. Then you're going to want to have access to all of my resources. A lot of people don't even realize that I have tons of books out there. I have books, I have DVDs, I have videos, I have video courses. To see all of those things, you need to go to courses.thunderwizard.com. The next thing I need you to do is to understand the 4 tools that are absolutely necessary for you to break out of the prison of your self-limited matrix. For that, you need to go to neo.thunderwizard.com. The people who follow that, who make use of those resources, are the people that can ask me very pointed, direct, pertinent, and intelligent questions that excite me so that I will go even deeper into sharing with you the mysteries of how to master this universe and become a god on earth. All right, here we go. Get ready for the teaching. Here it comes. All right, so I have new streaming software. As you can see, I'm still getting used to it, trying to figure it out. But we are going to talk today about shifting timelines, and we're going to talk about WYRD, the concept of WYRD, W-Y-R-D, the ancient pre-Christian European understanding of what we would very simply call destiny. So, in every lifetime that you live, you have the opportunity, in every moment, every split second, every nanosecond, you have an opportunity to make choices which will align you to different timelines. And what ends up happening is the weight of WYRD ends up holding us down and keeping us trapped in living cycles of confusion, pain, lack of awareness. Use whatever words you want. So to understand this, we need to understand that the concept of WYRD itself has within it the understanding of infinite timelines that are available to us. And if you can understand this, when you think about WYRD, then you can understand that this is what Odin mastered. Odin mastered WYRD. Now, I get questions from people like, anyway, I get all kinds of questions, but I get that look on my face, that pained look on my face, because the assumptions are all wrong. And so the questions themselves can't be answered because the assumptions that drive the questions are wrong. People want to do rituals and pray to the Norns. Waste of time. The Norns are not goddesses that you can pray to who will change your destiny. Nothing outside of you can change your destiny. Nothing outside of you can change your timelines. I think about this a lot because I am a Vedic astrologer. And, I can look at somebody's chart and I can see the patterns of WYRD that have gotten them to where they are. I can also see that for a lot of people, the way that they act, the choices that they make, seem as though they've been predetermined based on their karma. So the concept of WYRD, I prefer to use that than instead of just karma or dharma. People don't even know the difference between karma and dharma. Dharma is your, let's say, your destiny, what you are destined to be at your highest awareness. It is not the inescapable destiny. It's not inescapable at all. It's totally escapable. You can completely escape your highest destiny. Most people do. That's why they keep reincarnating. Your fate, on the other hand, and I'm using these words arbitrarily because fate sounds like it can't be changed. So I'm using it in that way. Your fate, that which cannot be changed. You are going to be born, you are going to do this, you are going to become a criminal, or you're going to become a king. This is your fate. Those things are extremely difficult, extremely, extremely difficult to escape, but they're not impossible to escape. So you can look at somebody's chart, and if, astrologers who are far more powerful than I am can look at somebody's chart and see, what's going to happen at somebody's, whatever year in their life, what's going to happen. But really all that they're showing is what we would call the skuld, the schuld, the future debt, is that you are playing out future debt, which people know as karma. Future karma has to play itself out. Now, if you follow your fate, which is what the energies inside of you, the unconscious assumptions, the patterns inside of you are all geared up to push you into acting a certain way, taking certain choices. It feels as though you have no control. The guy who, commits murder, or, whatever, something, he just flips out and does something, and then he ends up in jail. And an astrologer looks at his chart and says, oh yeah, I can see this planet was transiting here, and you've got this here and that there, and so yes, I can see here the potential for, going to jail and committing murder. But what is really the truth is that all that's happening is that energies are conspiring based on your schuld, your debt, your karma. A bunch of energies are conspiring to influence you, but you ultimately have the choice to decide. And at any given nanosecond in your life, you can change that. Now, we're talking about negative things because this is what motivates people the most. They want to avoid pain. And it's kind of sad because that's the least profound and powerful way and effective way to change timelines. But it's the one that people respond to the most. They want to avoid the pain. How do I avoid the pain? I've been sharing from the beginning that the most important thing that you can do is adopt an attitude of trust in the universe, and that you take fearless action on your joy. Though that to me is that's it. There's everything else that I talk about, or everything that I teach, or every tool that I give you is designed to enhance that ability, nothing more. If you're able to do that, like if you're able in every moment to trust the universe and take fearless action towards your joy, you will need nothing else. You won't need me, you won't need mantra, you won't need ritual, you won't need qigong, you won't need meditation, you won't need anything. But how many people have that ability? The only people who have that kind of ability are people that we would call enlightened. These are the people who don't need to come back because they've experienced everything, they've mastered that. Everything you experience in life is, number one, an opportunity to achieve that instantly in the moment. And since most of us don't do that, then it is an opportunity to learn from that so that we can do that. That's all there is. That's all there is to it. There's nothing else. So let's talk about what WYRD is. WYRD, WYRD. WYRD is, the word means that which has been woven. So that's why it's referred to as fate or destiny. And in the mythology, the symbolism of that is that there are three giantesses who weave three threads that create what we would call space-time. And those three giantesses are the past, the present, and the future. The past is named WYRD, which means origins. The present is named WYRDandi, which means immediacy, or coming into being, or the ever-present coming into being. This present moment, try and put your finger on the now. You can't do it. Once you put now is now, it's in the past. Now it's in the past. Now it's in the past. You can't. It's an ever-unfolding present. So there really isn't a past or a future. And this is the key to understanding how this all works. If you can understand that there is no past or future, that there is just the now, the ever-present now, then you will be able to make decisions right now based on what gives you joy. And that's it. But for most of us, that's very challenging to do. So the giantess who weaves the past, that comes as a result of, in every ever-present now, in every nanosecond, you either make a belief or you replay a belief in your mind. That's what I call the story. You replay the story. But the thing is that you can change the story at any moment. The challenge is that changing the story is not the same as going into denial. Denial, pretending that you're not in pain, or pretending that you're not in fear, or pretending that you're not angry or resentful, that's not wiping the slate clean and starting in the moment. That's denial. And so that's the challenge. How do we avoid going into denial, staying connected to all of our feelings, but taking action based on conscious awareness? This is what this whole thing is about. This is what's constantly happening in the now. Unless you are, like most of us, you are reliving the past. You're reliving old feelings, and you keep making the same story. So if your assumption is the universe is a frightening place, the universe is a cruel place, whatever. Whatever choice that is, then most of us just keep replaying that same belief over and over again. If you have a history, whatever happened to you in the past, because people were hurtful to you, you decided that certain people or certain instances or certain situations are harmful, and therefore, whatever it is that created it, in every nanosecond you keep replaying that same moment over and over again, which drives you to make the same conclusion over and over again. The universe is a frightening place. I can't trust anybody. Women just want you for your money. Men just want to use you as a sex object. You can't trust the government. Whatever it is, you just keep saying it over and over again. And what people do is they go on to whatever stimulation that they use to reinforce that story. This is what talk radio is about, especially political talk radio. People listen to political talk radio so that they can continue to keep telling themselves the same story, which builds up the anger, which is what they get off on. everybody has their own drug, but anger is a big drug. They get off on the anger and they keep telling the same story over and over to themselves. That's just one example. But we do that every moment of every day. And so what happens is in that moment, every time that you make a belief, every time that you reinstate the same old assumptions, whenever you take an actual action, you pick up the phone and you say this, you go over to somebody's house and you do that, you pay for that, you buy that. Those actions and those beliefs, those stories get imprinted in the past. It's happened, it's in the past. And what happens is the past keeps sending you the signal to keep doing the same thing over and over again. And so you keep doing it over and over again, you keep creating the same past. Every time that you take an action, every time that you have a belief, every time that you have I was going to say a feeling, but that's not accurate. Every time that you choose to believe something about the universe, you create a past which then dictates your future. Think of it as this. Your past is your map. And every time you say, whatever it is, women are just want you for your money, you create that in the past. That then orients you towards a timeline where you live out the consequences of continuing to project that belief into your world. If you change your belief, so if somebody decides to go, you know what, women are human beings and they love me, or there are women out there who will love me regardless of my money. That then starts to begin the process. Imagine you're on this swiveling platform, and every time you make a belief, it's like you're throwing out a hook that hooks you to a certain timeline, and it stays there. Let's say now you have a moment, a flash of awareness, and you go, hang on a second, women will love me for who I am, not for how much money I have. That throws out another hook into a different timeline. But you have 750 million hooks going into this one timeline. So this swiveling thing you're sitting on tries to turn to the other timeline, but it can't because it's hooked onto with all of the other ones. So what do? From that moment on, you continue to change your belief. You continue to choose to believe that the universe cares for you and that women will love you for who you are. And then slowly that thing starts to pivot towards that timeline where women really treat you well. I'm using this as an example. It could be men, it could be women, it could be money, it could be God, it could be the universe, it could be physical health, it could be anything. But every time that you, in each moment, consciously make the decision to choose to trust and to choose to believe, whatever it is that you want to experience, that throws you, that changes it swivels, where you're sitting. It swivels your chair, right? It swivels your chair to the timeline and it creates a new map for you. And so then the debt, which we know as karma, is neither good nor bad. It is simply the debt that must be played out based on the WYRD, the past that we've created. So what this means is that, I can look at somebody's chart, or, an expert astrologer can look at somebody's chart and say, yes, this person is destined to be this, destined to do that, but, they're going to commit murder, or they're going to be a thief, or whatever it is. All that is that is reverberations from previous lives where they have made decisions, taken actions, had beliefs, which oriented them towards a certain timeline, which is what they're living out now in this life. They're living out the timeline that they have invested in previous lives. All that means is that the energies are going to come up to influence you to make that decision. But it's not an absolute necessary fact. And so this is a way to beat your fate. You have to stay in the moment. So, I'm a broken record here, but And every time that I start to feel like I need to just, I keep saying this over and over again, I'll get a question from somebody. Somebody will drop a question onto the YouTube question comment section, or I'll get an email, or I'll work with a client and I'll go, they still don't get it. I understand, because again, there's so much unconscious, stuff in there that's trying to keep us on whatever limited plane of existence we keep creating for ourselves. But I'm going to repeat it. I only know of one way that you can shift your timeline to one that will be beyond perfect for you. And that is when you identify what your joy is, not your responsibility. When you identify what your joy is, and when you take action towards it, regardless of how you feel or how much money you have. I say the second one here because that's the biggest excuse. The biggest excuse that people use to not fearlessly take action towards what they want to do is they say, I can't afford it, I don't have the money. I need to go work this crappy job and throw my soul in the toilet for X amount, and then I'll have enough money to go do what I want. And I'm not judging you, because I did it. It's taken me, I'm 55 now, it took me until I was 49 years old before I realized that the most important thing in my life was to surf. And here's how I knew that. One of the ways that I knew that. I moved away from California when I was 39. Moved away from California when I was 39 for, again, my karma was pushing me to make decisions. If I could go back in time, I would have gone back in time, and I would have sat myself down and I would have said, here's what's going to happen if you do this. And I would have showed myself. What was interesting is I know I had two choices, but I made the choice that I did. But I would have said, listen, I know everything in you and everything seems to be conspiring to get you to move away and to go do this and this. I would have said, don't do that. Stay here and surf. That's the most important thing. Don't worry about anything else. Everything else will work itself out. I didn't do that. And during those 10 years that I was away from California, I kid you not, every single night I dreamt about surfing. Even if it was, I would dream that I was sitting on my surfboard and I couldn't catch a wave, or whatever it was, I always dreamt about surfing. And then at almost 10 years to the day, all of a sudden those dreams stopped. And I knew something in me was broken. I knew something had broke. And that scared me. And a bunch of other things were going on, which I've already talked about. But one of the things I did is I made the decision. I was sick and I was injured, and I didn't have any money, and I was married, and all kinds of things that were keeping me from doing that. And I said, I got to surf. I'm going to do that. I don't care what it takes. I don't care what I have to do. I have no idea how I'm going to do it, because I have no resources to make that happen. But I am going to do it. I'm going to start surfing regularly again. And I made that commitment to myself. I had no idea how I was going to pull it off. That decision changed everything without me even doing or saying anything about it. Just making that decision shifted everything so intensely, and a bunch of other things happened, and my marriage fell apart. And within a year, I was back California, and I was surfing again. And to get that to happen, I had to take major risk, like almost making myself homeless kind of risks. In fact, I don't, looking back on it, I don't even know how I avoided that, but I did. That's all I know about what to do, is in every single moment. And every single moment, ask yourself what gives you joy and take action towards it, regardless of how you feel or what circumstances are seemingly preventing you from doing it. If you do that, you will shift into a new timeline. Now, what you experience when you are in each and every moment just choosing to focus on your joy and choosing to take those, to operate under different beliefs and take different choices, what ends up happening is that you start to feel all kinds of resistance coming at you. Your experience of that can be emotional. You'll have all kinds of anger, pain, sadness, depression, fear, panic. All of these things might come up. You might have financial problems. You might have physical problems. You might have a bunch of chaos. You might have people. You might have all of these things seemingly conspiring to prevent you. Lack of money, like I said, is the biggest excuse that people use. And it will seem to you that you cannot escape these things. What you need to understand is that all of those things coming at you are the timeline that you're currently trying to escape is working to keep you in that timeline. Bear in mind, on the timeline where you belong, you don't have those problems. You have the problems on this timeline because this is the timeline that is not in your highest destiny. And it has a purpose to fulfill. I've talked about my brother numerous times. He's my best teacher. And last I heard, he was homeless, sick and homeless. And there's no reason for that to be. I know him. I mean, I know if you met him, he would give you this list of all these reasons and this sob story and all that. And I know that none of those things, as true or not, none of them were powerful enough to put him where he is. That's his timeline he's created. And I know that had he made different choices, he'd be on a different timeline. So whenever I feel that, and I'm going through this now, I'm making huge changes in my life, and everything I'm talking to you about is happening to me. And I continue to do that. I continue to take spot check inventories on myself every single moment, asking myself, what is it that I want? What gives me joy? And what actions do I need to take? Not what actions can I take? What actions do I need to take to make that happen? And then I go do it. And then I experience the same thing that you do. I experience emotional resistance, psychological resistance, things in your life, people, money, laws, whatever, pop up to try and stop you. And now I know that, like I said, those are all of those in every single moment up until this point. Every time that you make a decision or you invest in a belief or you take an action that distracts you from your true destiny, it sort of throws a rope into the future of the less than perfect timeline that you're on. And so when you go to, it's like you move, like I said, you move to switch away, there's all these ropes trying to pull you back. And the only way is to just keep every moment making new decisions, new beliefs, and new choices. And then eventually there's enough rope thrown into this new one that then the old ropes break. And then you can continue. But you have to keep doing that forever. It gets easier though. Okay? So those are some of my thoughts about shifting timelines and WYRD. Let's take a look and see what's going on here. If you're new to the channel, here's what I need for you to do. If you have a question, I want you to write the word question and then write your question. A well thought out question with a subject and a verb and an object and context. I'm really not interested in your, nothing personal. I'm not interested in your opinions. I don't need, cheerleaders, because I have to scroll through all that to get to the questions, and I want to get to people's questions. Okay, so let's see what we got going on here. Do we have any questions? Jedi Black Knight, question. In Celestial Qigong, if you're not familiar with what that is, go to courses.thunderwizard.com and click on that. It is the most powerful energy practice that I know of that can be taught on video. The other stuff that I know that is more powerful than that can only be taught in person, and it's dangerous. This is taking the highest level energy work and teaching it in a way that anybody can learn it and you won't blow any circuits. But people who've done it, ask Jedi Black Knight. It's incredibly powerful stuff. Jedi Black Knight question: in Celestial Qigong, what are your thoughts on doing the 30 Saj rune method after the Heaven-Earth method just before closing down? Would it be more effective with all the 9 centers open? So what are my thoughts? Sounds great. I don't have any problem with that. You know, I'm curious to know, Jedi Black Knight, you know, and I don't need you to answer me, but I'm curious to know what your entire, you know, spiritual practice is. You know, just don't overdo it. Don't try and do, again, don't try and do too many things. You're not, you know, more is not better. You know, one of the things that unfortunately that lacks when you're not working with somebody directly and in person is that you can discipline them and say, I want you to just do these and stick with that, and do that for X amount of months. Because like Jedi Black Knight, I've been in that situation where I have a bunch of different things, and how many do I do and which one, and I'll just try this now and I'll try that. But to answer your question, I don't have any problem with that. Juby Bob threw down $1. Thank you, I appreciate that. Dean Nevins question: can I incorporate the recent Fehu manifestation ritual into the ritual you already gave me? If so, how can I do so? Yes, you can. And I would go with the one that is on the free YouTube channel, and just do that once a day and face each one of the 9 directions and do that. So again, that you're not overdoing things. Listen to the Stars 85. When asking a question, please. Oh, thank you. All right. Let's see. What else? No more questions. Is that it? That's all the questions that we have. All right, so normally what I would do is I would have a video to play, but I don't, because I just got this new stuff. I was so frustrated. I could complain about it, but I complained about it already. So let me see if I can think of something that continue to talk about. Let me pitch where I think this channel is going to be going. So, as you know, we have, maybe you don't know, we have an advanced shamanism course, which is at thunderwizard.com. It's one of the 4 things that I recommend up here in neo.thunderwizard.com. And people can subscribe at various levels. If you subscribe at the lowest level, you will get access to hundreds of hours of videos that you cannot find anywhere else, where I take you step by step through the process of true shamanism, where you understand ritual, where you understand what energy is, what energy work is. I talk about the runes, I talk about mantra, I talk about the 9 worlds of the world tree, which we have right here. 9 worlds of the world tree. How to use that in ritual. How to understand the beings that are in each one of these 9 dimensions. And how we in the center are affected by all of that. You can learn step by step from that. Go to thunderwizard.com. For those who choose to subscribe at the Manifestation Mastery course level, you will have access to all of what I just talked about, and you will have access to videos where I'm talking about this subject. I mean, now I'm talking about shifting timelines, but it's the same thing. And what's going to be happening starting now, I think Thursday, this coming Thursday, I'm going to have live question and answers on the Manifestation Mastery course channel, just for people who subscribe there. And it gives you an opportunity to work with me directly. And this is for people who have put the time and effort into watching my videos, who have put time and effort into reading the books, who have put time and effort into practicing. Maybe you've gotten a mantra and a mantra ritual, and you have very specific questions like Jedi Black Knight, has very specific questions about the practices that I've taught. That's what will be happening there. And I'm really looking forward to that. I really want to create a community over there of people who are serious and educated and knowledgeable in this path, and really be able to take this path to the next level. That's where we're going. So for that, you need to go to thunderwizard.com and sign up at whatever, well, at the levels that I mentioned. Okay, it looks like I think we have a question here. Let's see what's happened. Cosmo Joe. What is this? A band that smells like Teen Spirit, bro. Question, what is Nirvana? So this is what I'm talking about, guys. Keep that kind of stuff to yourself. It makes me want to just block you. A band that smells like Teen Spirit. Squirt Man, what is Nirvana? I don't teach Nirvana. So this is what I mean. You're new to the channel. Ask a question about something that I teach. I can tell by your question that you're probably not familiar with what I teach. Go watch the channels. Go listen. Then you'll have something that will inspire me to answer you. And again, let me just make if people are just coming on and watching the live Q&As, you're getting less than 1% of what you can get in this path. Okay? All right, Cosmo Joe. Question. In regard to manifestation, how much of one's life is guided by higher forces, like ascended beings, etc.? And how does this relate to the greater world's destiny? Is there a plan unfolding or just chaos? How many questions are in there? I count 1, 2, 3, 4 questions in your question. So my question to you is, what difference does it make? You don't have any control really over other beings. And I haven't answered the question, but let me just say that there are higher forces and lower forces. There are all kinds of different forces that are influencing us and affecting us. The higher forces only come when we invite them. If we don't invite them, they don't come. So again, just makes me ask you, what difference does it make? Why are you taking the focus off of yourself? The focus of what I'm talking about today is you being in the moment and listening to what gives you joy and taking action on that, changing your beliefs, those beliefs that limit your ability to take action towards your joy, changing those beliefs on a moment-by-moment basis so that you can switch timelines. Whatever beings are out there, ascended masters, gods, deities, spirits, ancestors, they are all only interested in that. They are only interested in helping you to follow your joy. Now, you asked a question that's very Christian. I know you don't realize it. It's a very Christian question. What do I mean by that? Christians have a base assumption about how the universe works. All of the big religions, the big modern religions, the Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and all of the offshoots of that, whether it's Mormonism or Catholicism or Sufism or whatever. They all operate from a base assumption, which is that we are helpless little peons running around and that there's a giant bearded man up there who's making all the decisions for you. And that you are you are subject to the whims of the beings outside of you. So listen to that in your question here, because you say, how does this relate to the greater world's destiny? Is there a plan unfolding or just chaos? None of that helps you. No matter what I say. If I say to you, oh, there is a greater plan, and the aliens and the elves and the gods are working for us to be, then it takes all the responsibility off of you. What difference does it make? The only thing that you have any control over, and Cosmo Joe and I, we go back a long way, your issue is control. You want to control everything. The only control that you have is the decisions and the beliefs that you make in every single nanosecond. That's all that you have. You have no control over anything else. Who gives a crap about the greater world's destiny? What difference does that make? How does that impact you living your life right now? It doesn't. If you want to impact, to answer your question, if you want to impact the greater world's destiny, you are responsible for living your joy. When you do that, and like we talked about before, you go against the tide which is pulling you towards a lesser destiny, and you fearlessly go after what you want, and you face all of your unconscious karmic issues that come up, and you continue to stay on that path no matter how frightening it is, then everybody's awareness goes up a notch. So not to put too much pressure on you, but if you're really concerned about the destiny of the world, get up off your ass and find your own destiny. And then you will help everybody to find theirs. Okay? Out of the blue. So is there a plan unfolding or just chaos? That's a question I want to ask you. Do you have a clear destination? I want to ask you, Cosmo Joe. I've been hammering away at it, the 4 tools, neo.thunderwizard.com. Have you gotten that? Have you gotten those 4 tools, and are you practicing it? Because all of those questions will be addressed in there. Are you just one of those people who come onto my channel and listen and watch? Or are you somebody that's reading the books and following and doing what I suggest? I don't know. I'm saying that. And you don't need to answer it. It's a rhetorical question. But anyway, out of the blue, if you have a question, please write the word question. Otherwise, I don't know, what's going on. I assume that you're new to the channel. So do you talk about Celtic Druid path and rituals of old? I do talk about rituals of old. Go to thunderwizard.com and sign up for the Shamanism Mastery course. I teach you all kinds of old rituals. But let me be clear about what I do. I don't talk about other teachers. I don't talk about other paths. So I'm not a Celtic Druid. I don't know anything about that. So if you want to be on my channel, watch my videos, find out what I teach, ask me questions about what I teach, and then I'll be able to help you out. Otherwise, for me to talk about a path I don't practice is a waste of everybody's time. And it's disrespectful to whoever is a Celtic Druid. And here you ask another question. Do you teach Icaros 4 and teach about shamanic journey to heal others with ayahuasca? So again, out of the blue, put some time and effort into watching my videos, and you'll find that out. Okay. Pharaoh Horus, question, what herbs you recommend for longevity? I'm hesitating because I do take herbal supplements, but again, it's not really something I teach, is it? Ask a deeper question, guys. Ask a deeper question. Really, go deeper than that. That's it. All right, so I'm not seeing any questions here. Oh, here's one. Wait. Plastic surgery Beth. Well, now I want to know where that name came from. Question, new to your channel, please explain who Jehovah is and why I should stop fearing him. Jehovah, I am that I am. Let me ask you this. How is your response to a human being who walks around saying, I am this, I am that, I am? What is your response to a human being who says, you shall have no other friends before me? What is your response to a human being who says, if you don't do what I say, you don't love me? And if you don't love me, then you hate me. And if you hate me, here are all of the curses that I will place upon you. It's exactly what Jehovah said to supposedly, what Jehovah is reported to have said to Moses. He said, I am that I am. And then he said, you should have no other gods before me. And then he goes into saying, don't look for them in the sky. Don't look for them under the sea. Don't look for them walking on the ground. Don't do this. Don't do that. I am the only one. And then he goes on to say all of the curses that will happen to you if you don't worship only him. What does this sound like to you? If a human being talked like that, we would lock them up. If a human being threatened to burn you for eternity because you were imperfect, we would lock that person up. This is Jehovah. Jehovah is nothing more than the human ego. All of the gods, whatever the gods are, they're all emanations from within us. Jehovah is not really, it's not even the human ego, because there's nothing wrong with having a sense of self. Jehovah is the childish, narcissistic, it's your narcissism. When people bow down to Jehovah, they're bowing down to their own narcissism. That's why religious people are constantly projecting their own fears, and they hate everybody, they dislike everybody. That's how they feel about themselves. That's their own narcissism. Do I need to say any more? Do I need to talk about the idea that because you were born, Jehovah says that you're born imperfect and there's nothing you can do about it. You're born sinful. You had nothing to do with it. You were just born that way. And I'm going to hold you responsible for the offenses of Adam and Eve who came before you. I'm going to hold you responsible for that. And by the way, there's nothing you can do to make it go away. There's nothing you can do to please me. I can't tolerate your presence. I can't tolerate your existence to such an extent that once you're done with this life, I'm going to put you into a place of torment forever. Simply because I can't tolerate what I perceive to be your imperfections. And then he takes his son, who supposedly is perfect, and he takes him by the scruff of the neck, throws him down here and says, okay, you're going to take their punishment for them. And he says, Jesus, this is one of the things that I just find amazing about people who want to worship Jesus. Why you'd want to worship this guy, I don't know. Because he goes, Dad, could you please take this away from me? I mean, if you don't, I'll do it if you really want me to, but, if you could you take it away? What a pussy. Come on. I say that and I can feel the fear going through me as I say that, because I used to be a born-again Christian when I was younger. Do I need to say more? Why do you need more? It's right in front of your face. Why do you not? Why would you fear somebody who's so insecure? You don't need to be afraid of him. He's an insecure bully. And the thing about bullies is, once you turn around and face them, they cower. Jehovah's a bully. He's an insecure bully. And he's nothing more than your own narcissism. So you can worship him if you want, but that's what you're going to get. Brandon, little question. When finding the unconscious pattern and you still struggle to change it, there's no question there. So Brandon Little, how much of my stuff have you watched about this? I talk about this all the time. And that's why it's important to keep coming back and watching, because I'm hammering away at your unconscious. Every time that I state what you've heard me say 1 billion times, I'm hammering away at it so that you can go, oh, I can do something different. So if you're asking me, what do you do when you still struggle to change it? I've never said that you won't struggle. In fact, if you listen to what I say, I go out of my way to tell you that it will be a struggle. In today's example, I'm saying that you're on this path that's less than perfect. Every time that you make a decision or a belief that has fear in it, or anything that diverts you from your purest joy, you end up throwing a rope with a hook into it onto the future timeline that's not perfect, and it pulls you into it. When you change, you throw a rope into another timeline, but you still have all these other ropes pulling you. That is the struggle. So get used to it. Don't try and avoid the struggle. Get used to it. It's not going anywhere. The way to do it is, no matter how fearful you are, no matter how difficult it is, no matter how challenging it is, you keep changing your beliefs and your attitudes, and you keep taking action towards your joy. You don't stop no matter what the struggle is. So don't ask me to take your struggle away, because I can't. Your struggle will get less and less the more that you invest in your highest destiny, and the more that you take action towards what you want, regardless of how much it costs, or how scared you are, or how all the people are trying to talk you out of it, or how none of your friends are doing it, or how you feel like an idiot if you do it. None of those things can stop you unless you allow them to. How can one come into being know thyself? So, out of the blue, you're just kind of throwing questions at me now. I encourage you to spend some time on my channel and watching what I teach, so that you have some deeper, more intelligent questions about what I teach. Okay, so that's not, that question doesn't tell me that you really know who I am or what I teach. You're just throwing questions out. You could ask that question on anybody's channel. What I want somebody who's going to ask me intelligent questions about what I've been teaching. Okay? So I welcome you to the channel. Put some more time and effort. Watch my videos, read my books, put some time into it. And then you'll have questions, not about something else, but about what I teach. And then I'm going to want to talk about that. Okay? Cosmo Joe. Question. I have honestly searched my soul desire, but found nothing move me towards personal joy. So Cosmo Joe, we've been doing this dance on YouTube for a long time. I don't remember. Have you and I ever worked together? Not that I need more clients, but have you and I ever worked together? This is one of the unfortunate truths about it. I have a teacher that I've had for 25 years. This is a guy that I go to with my questions, who helps me overcome my resistance, my unconscious resistance. You can't do brain surgery on yourself. A brain surgeon can't take a mirror and cut open their brain and do brain surgery on themselves. You've run into a problem. For how many years have I been saying to you, you're conflicted? So let me explain to those who may not be familiar with what I'm talking about. If I ask you this question, if I say to you, if you didn't have to work, and you didn't have to make money, if you didn't have to meet anybody's expectations or follow any rules, if under all of those conditions, the only thing that you are required to do is what made you happy, what would you do? If your response to that question is, I don't know, that means that you have unconscious conflict. It means that your soul knows what it wants, what makes it happy, but you have a belief that you need to be doing something else in order to be accepted. It may not be on a conscious level, which is when you don't know consciously, it means the battle is on the unconscious level. And the fear is, if you do what it is you want, you're afraid you're either going to be a bad person, you think you'll kill your parents, you think you'll destroy the world. This is not rational, it's not conscious, it's on an unconscious level. So Cosmo Joe, I can only go so far answering the same question with you. At some point, you're going to have to work with somebody who's going to peel back the layers and call you on your BS and ask you a bunch of questions. And it may take a long time. Okay? So how do you do that? It makes me want to ask you again, are you doing all the stuff that I teach? What are you doing? Are you doing the Qigong? Are you doing a ritual and a mantra? Have you even gotten one from me? What are you and what aren't you doing? And have you worked with me? I don't know if we've ever talked. Have I ever talked to you on the phone? Uh, is there a way to force the revelation of the soul desire to the surface? So again, do you hear the control? This is your thing. You want to control. Now you want to grab your soul by the throat and force it to bring you to your consciousness. So that right there tells you a lot. Stop trying to control everything. Stop trying to force everything. Go into your qigong and go into that place of emptiness that frightens you so much. Keep going there. Without talking to you, that's the best answer I can give you. The thylacine question. If we receive money from the universe, I don't know what that means. I mean, I understand generally, but you mean from a job, from what? If we receive money from the universe but have debt, like credit card debt, should we use that money towards our soul desire or pay our debt first? Continued. I have been receiving money, not much from my father out of the blue, but tend to use it more having fun instead of being responsible. So we might be dealing with three different things. There's investing money toward you living your soul desire. There is paying off your debts, and there is having fun. By having fun, do you mean going to Vegas and buying hookers and gambling? Obviously, that's, you're welcome to do that with your money if you want, but you're throwing it away. Is there a course that you want to take which will allow you to become whatever? And does that cost money? Investing in that which makes you happy, that is a good use of your money. Paying your debt first. Here's the thing about debt. Debt represents your unconscious conflict about you following your true path. Case in point, your question. You think that you need to choose between paying off your debt and going after what you love. And that's a non sequitur. You have set it up in your question. You believe that, like I said before, I said in the beginning that, the biggest excuse people have before, taking action on what makes them happy is they say, I don't have the money. If I just had enough money. And so what happens? They go and they work a job they can't stand. They don't make enough money. They're not doing what they love. Then they get into credit card debt. And then in order to divert themselves from how unhappy they are, they go to Vegas or they whatever, and they get deeper into debt. Your debt represents your unconscious conflict. When you resolve the unconscious conflict, you will get the money necessary to pay your debt off. And I always tell people, once you find out what your joy is, turn that into money. And this is one of the services that I give at career.thunderwizard.com. One of the services that I give, if you scroll to the bottom, you can get a session with me. One of the things I do is I help people determine what it is that makes them happy and then give them options on how they can turn that into money. I'm doing it right now. I mean, look at what it is, my business model. My business model is I come on here, I babble for 3 hours. I point my finger and I shake and I scream and I, sometimes make people look stupid and, whatever. And I don't know why you guys watch it, but you do. But I do this because I need to get it out. And what I do then is people want more. They want to have a deeper connection with me. They want to learn from me. So they go and they subscribe on my Patreon channel. That combined with all of the astrology readings and the services that I do, all of that pays for me to do what I love, which is surf. I am about to, in 3 months, I'm going to get rid of everything I have here. And I'm going to put just enough to fit into a suitcase and a couple of surfboards, and I'm going to go travel Australia and New Zealand for maybe a year and a half, and I'm going to surf my brains out, and I'm going to get rid of this computer, and I'm going to get a laptop, and I'm just going to do what I'm doing now from a laptop. You're going to see me on the beach. I wish I could show you where it is. I'm going to show you where I'm going to be. I promise you, I guarantee you that you will see me from my laptop. Oh, wait, I know where I can find it. Let's do this. Let's see what comes up. Nothing comes up if I do that. What if I do this? Yeah. All right. So let me do, okay, I hope that doesn't screw things up. Let's take this and put this over here. Oh, why aren't you going? Go here. No, that's not helping. Let's try this. No, I said go over here, and I meant it. Why, it won't let me do that? Let's try this. All right, I'll have to show you. I promise you that I will show you. I wish you could see the picture. Oh, it probably won't let me do it while it's on, I bet. While it's working. I probably have to do it when it's not streaming. Okay, so I was answering somebody's question. So that's it. I mean, your debt will take care of itself when you resolve your unconscious conflict. The only way that you can resolve, this is going to answer Cosmo Joe's question. Your unconscious mind, meaning the stuff you are not aware of. So that kind of, Cosmo Joe, how can you force what you're not aware of to come to the surface? How can you do that? You don't even know what it is. You don't even know what the conflict is. How can you force that to the surface? You can't do it. The only way that I know to become conscious of the conflict is to take action towards what you're most afraid of that you know you want. How about if I put it to you that way? If I take away the follow your greatest joy, people can't find that get confused about joy. How about this one? Taking action towards the thing you know you want to do that scares you the most. When you commit to doing it and take action on it, what will happen is that your resistance will come up. If you keep taking action regardless of the resistance, you will force that, to answer your question, you will force those things to your conscious mind, and then you'll know, like what I found out. It took me a long time, but I figured out that I had stayed in debt and broke because I was protecting my mother. And you're saying, well, how does that, how are you protecting your mother? Because in my mind, in my unconscious mind, I got the message from my mother that if I was successful, she would feel that I was abandoning her. And sort of keep me around, she would infuse me with doubt and self-criticism. And she would get very uncomfortable if I really started to be successful. And so in order to keep my mother happy and to make her feel protected, I unconsciously sabotaged my success. Consciously, I'm like, why do I have all this debt? Why can't I? Why will nothing work for me? That's what was happening consciously. And so, I'm only telling you what worked for me. Day after day, year after year, no matter, wanting to put a gun in your mouth and blow your brains out, but instead of doing that, you go do that thing you're most afraid of. If you keep doing that day after day after day, then eventually you will become aware of why you've been doing it. This is why the path of the warrior is so important. This is why our ancestors said those who die in battle go to Valhalla. This is what that means. It means that every day you die, you're willing, like literally, I literally was willing to die to surf. The first time that I got back in the water after 10 years, I was in pain and overweight and out of shape, and I paddled out into freezing, winter, waves that were 20 feet high, and I could have drowned, and I said, so what? This is what I came here to do, I'm going to do it. And magically, all of my physical stuff went away. I mean, I was panting like a beached whale, but my body got better, and I got happier, and money started coming to me. The universe will reward you for the actions that you take. Again, go to neo.thunderwizard.com. This is the 5 rules to master the matrix. All right. Brandon, little question. When you see your patterns consciously that you wish to change and still struggle, so I've already addressed that. Why do you're not going to get rid of the struggle. So just get used to, just expect that the struggle will come. Just expect it. That saves you a lot of problem right there. You're not going to avoid it, so stop trying to avoid it. Expect it. You still struggle. Between shamanic journeying or talking to guides, which is a better way to find the answer? There isn't a better one. Try them both. Whatever works, do it. Everybody's a little different. Out of the blue. Trish Blanchard. Question. Is a feeling of solipsism linked to mental disease? I have no idea. What is solipsism? Let me look that up right now. What is solipsism? Solipsism is the philosophical idea that only one's the idea that only one's own mind is sure to exist. As an epistemological position, solipsism holds that knowledge of anything outside one's own mind is unsure. Holy crap. The external world and other minds cannot be known and might not exist outside of the mind. As a metaphysical position, solipsism goes further to the conclusion that the world and other minds do not exist. Well, I understand that. Is a feeling of solipsism linked to mental disease? What am I supposed to do with that question? Are you asking me, are you insane? Maybe. It doesn't matter. I'm telling you what to do. I'm giving you very direct instructions on what to do. I'm not a psychiatrist, so it sounds like I'll tell you what it sounds like. First off, I relate, number one. Number two, it sounds, interestingly enough, you're not the only one that feels that way. But a solipsist is going to think that, which means we're talking about narcissism, which is you're disconnected from everything and everybody. And that's a very sad, lonely place to be. Here's what I know. And being that you're a solipsist, I've just made that word up, who knows if it's true. Being that you're a solipsist, you don't know that I'm real. There's no way for you to know what I'm going to tell you is true or not. All I know is that if you go after your joy and are willing to die to achieve it, that everything changes. I also know that it doesn't matter whether it exists or not. The only thing that matters is what makes my life better. Does being a solipsist make your life better? I doubt it. Whether it's true or not, I don't care. I am of the firm belief that we live multiple lifetimes. I believe that because it makes sense to me. I have had memories of past lives, but like you said, who knows? That could all be nonsense. But here's what I know. For me, if I accept the idea that the universe is interested in my soul achieving more and more power and awareness, and the best way for that to happen is for the soul to keep choosing to come into these lives, these human lives. And we do it over and over and over until we reach the place where we've experienced all that we want to experience and that we have met all of our desires, and then we go on to something else. Can I prove to you that it's true? No. I can't even come close. But I know that if I choose to believe that, and if I take actions on that, my life gets better. Not only does it get better, but I'm able to live in ways that were supposed to be impossible for me. That sounds like supernatural magic to me. That's how it feels to me. You can decide what that is. So is being a solipsist helpful to you? If you're having feelings of it, like it just overwhelms you, whether you're insane or not, or mental disease, who cares? Do you believe that you can get better? Do you believe that you can be happier? And if so, take the actions that are necessary for that. And like I said, you're not the only one that believes that. That is, or feels that. That is absolutely an epidemic in our society. And, it's gotten worse as time goes on. And it's because of devices and internet. Talk to people who've lived before cell phones and internet. Talk to people, they'll tell you that life was very different back then. There were problems, but you had to interact with reality. You had to interact with people. You had to walk places. If you wanted to talk to somebody or take a class, you had to walk and knock on a door. If you wanted to, talk to somebody, you had to go over to their house. You had to connect with people, and your feet had to touch the ground. You had to touch the world, the actual physical world. Living in these bubbles, these information bubbles, is extremely destructive, and the brain does not mature, and the connections aren't made. This is why it's really important to do things like go walking in the woods, to do physical exercise, to do things with your hands, to write with a pen and paper, do things that get you physically engaged, because otherwise you will have those continuous feelings. That's why, by the way, people are so obsessed with aliens. They're so obsessed with exiting the matrix, because it's just a projection of their reality. What is the matrix? It is a computer program where you're trapped. It's an illusion. What is that? That's a projection of their actual life. They don't know how to function outside of a computer screen or a phone screen or a laptop, right? So, I don't know if I answered your question or not. So, Pharaoh Horace, question, what is Qigong? Do I need to repeat myself? Go up to these links. Courses.thunderwizard.com. Go onto my channel and type in the word Qigong. Blue Jay Shaman, question. Do you find it unhealthy to follow YouTube channels and channels by people we have limited life force experience with? Part of the illusion created by the Saturn Moon Matrix, guys. Okay, so yeah, I kind of already answered that. Blue Jay Shaman, you're new to the channel. Put some time and effort into watching my videos and know what I teach. I have videos on all of those things. All right. There it is. So I think I'm done for tonight. I'm just starting to repeat myself. So I'm going to move it along. For those of you who are on the Patreon channel, on Thursday, I'll put a video up on the Thunder Wizard, the Patreon channel, letting you know what time, assuming that the program here is cooperative. I'm going to have a live Q&A on there this Thursday evening. I'll tell you exactly when. Okay, so that's it for me, my friends. Please go to these two websites. Put some time and effort into that. Put some time and effort into my channel. If you have a question on here that I chose not to answer, it means I've already talked about it in one of my videos. So go onto the free YouTube channel and type it in. Figure out how to search within my channel. YouTube is trying to turn you into a sheep bot. It tries to distract you with more and more sparkly stuff. But there's a way to actually go onto somebody's channel and type in for that channel keywords to see what videos come up. You can do that on my channel if you put the time and effort to do it. Okay, that's it for me, my friends. That's it for me tonight. I will see you, I don't know, soon. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see. All right, talk to you later.